Welcome back on this glorious and amazing day to the Isaac Wolowik channel, a channel that builds our character, gives us perspective, and we all learn together about spiritual growth. As I mentioned last week, we will share with you a fascinating story that happened to me personally just a while ago in the Thompson Square Mall in Monticello. So fresh and so illuminating to me. I actually loved it. And this is what we're going to gain through the series and through the 4 episodes. So I am parked in the parking lot and I pull out and I make a right. And as I pull out to make a right, someone in front of me pulls back and moves all the way back like that. And they're going to want to come here, which means they might even crash into me. So as they pulled out, yeah, it'll be easier. As they pulled out, what I did was, instead of standing here or going all the way back, I simply did a very interesting maneuver. I went like that, and I parked my car so now they could pull out, which is so simple. As I parked my car, the woman that was in her young 70s started beeping her horn, and she is frantic. Apparently, she wants to hold me accountable for something. So she rolls down her window, and I was like 3 feet away from her. And I rolled down my window, and I just smiled to her. I smiled to her. And she starts cursing me out. Why can't you wait 1 minute? What are you in a rush for? What are you doing? And you know, people do that. But that's okay. So I smiled to her and I said, Madam, the reason why I did it, because if I wouldn't get closer and go towards your back so you could come out, you wouldn't be able to go through. And since you wouldn't be able to go through, to help you out, to make it easier, I came and I moved close to you and I moved all the way towards your back. Now you could go out. And her whole energy changed. And suddenly, with a very friendly question, still skeptical, do I have room to back up? I guess, Madam, you have 7 or 8 feet. Sure, I'll guide you. And she slowly starts backing up. I personally thought she was 19 or 20. She just started driving. But that's okay. Some people, when I get 70, might happen to me too. You never know. She starts backing up and I say, you still got 4 feet. You could go by. You could go further. And then she slowly starts coming back towards me. And she looks me straight into the face. And she says, I'm sorry. And I said, Madam, don't worry. I make at least 25 mistakes a day. I might not know it, but I think I do. So you could make 1 mistake a day, and that's okay. And she looks back to me. She starts smiling, and she says, oh, I wish I would make 1 mistake a day. I make many more. And I told her, that's okay. We're human. And she wished me so sweetly, have a wonderful day. And because the story happened on Friday, she said, Shabbat Shalom, have a wonderful Shabbos. And I waved goodbye. What's the story? The story is, there's no need to deflect. But she yelled at you. Why did you take it? She didn't yell at me. I'll tell you what happened, in my opinion. I could be wrong. She interpreted a situation that I'm actually getting into her way, getting close, which I did get close. I was all the way there. I was like 20 feet away, blocking her. And I was supposed to go there anyways. Logic says, why back in? So I went in a situation that she could just pull out, and I've done it many times in my life. She understood from her perspective that I was doing something wrong, and I understood that perspective. Did she blame me? Again, in my understanding, no. She understood that I did something wrong, and based on that, she got frustrated. And me and you don't know what else is happening in her life and how much she's carrying on her heart and on her shoulders And it could be this is just the last straw on the camel's back. I opened up the window and I took responsibility and I said, yes, I did move this way. And I basically gave her my perspective that I believe was reality, because she noticed it was reality afterwards. Now what happened is, I never felt threatened. She tried to hold me responsible, and I totally get it. And I explained to her the situation. So it's not like, hey, it's not my fault. No, I had something in mind what to do in order to make it easier for you, madam. And then she apologizes. She wishes me a good day. Because, as you will see in the 4 episodes through the series, you want to have a good life? Deflection makes it worse. Now, if you understand the concept of deflection, you understand why you're doing it even when you don't even realize why you're doing it. And in many cases, we didn't talk about it last week, in many cases we just copied our role models, sadly our parents, that they constantly deflected, that they constantly never took responsibility, and they constantly barely ever apologized unless there was a threat that mom might leave the house for another 2 weeks like she did last week. And we're unaware. Once you become aware what deflection is, why we do it, it will save your relationships, it will save your family, it will save your community. And if you are up there making decisions in government, it will change your entire way of thinking. As well, something I didn't mention last week as well, I would say when people are interviewing each other or people having a debate, 99 or even more than 99% people are deflecting questions, and the interviewer that asks them doesn't even notice it. Very few times, maybe 40-50%, they're going, could you please answer me yes or no? But most time they go along with the answer. And I go, whoa, this is such a trick, this is such a sneak. And I personally would love one day to challenge people, because I do it all the time privately. When I prepare them for a question, I actually corner them, not to shame them, but to face the reality of life. To face the reality of life. And I say, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to have to tell me yes or no. You are going to choose. And after you say yes or no, this is something I came up with. I believe I came up with it, or it came to me through another source. I usually say we're going to wait 5, 10, or sometimes even 15 or 20 seconds afterwards. And maybe one day we'll explain in the other video the power of spending silence after you say yes or no. So we ask someone, do you do so and so? Usually people will say, I think so. I don't know, maybe, sometimes. It's a yes or no. Do you do this the majority of the time, or don't you do this the majority of the time? And they could choose yes or no. Let me tell you, most human beings can't do it. We're so not used to, we're always deflecting everything. We're not going head on. We're not taking responsibility. We're not answering questions. We're not being direct. We're all suffering from such a huge illness. You think cancer is an illness? Cancer is an illness that people are dealing with, healing. Deflection is something that most people are not even aware they're doing constantly all the time, which causes businesses to fall apart, families to fall apart, divorces, friendships to fall apart. And it's so painful because it's so easy to understand, to deal with. And that's what I'm happy and excited and thrilled to do within the next 4 episodes. Until then, please do remember, regardless of how you act and what you do, at your core you're good because you want to be good and you want to do the best. But not necessarily were we trained to do that as children. And we did not have the role models that did not deflect, that took responsibility. On the contrary, most, if not all of our role models, even our teachers, sadly, did deflect, and maybe they taught us how to do it. And it's not their fault either, because their teacher and their parents taught us. like one of my awesome teachers, Louise Hay, says, we are victims of victims. I love that line. Of course, people don't treat us well, but they weren't treated well either, and they don't know. I'm not letting them off the hook and saying, okay, it's okay. What I'm telling myself and yourself is that despite what happened in previous generations, we could turn things around and make better life for us. Until then, remember, you are super awesome.